Professor. My name is Heather Calvapina, and today I will be presenting classification of world Englishes. The objective for today's presentation are understanding the global spread and variation of English using Couture's model and Mayer's model of world Englishes. To identify and analyze the lexical, morphological, syntactical, and phonological differences between American English and Philippine English. To develop an appreciation of how cultural and historical context influence the development of different English variations. For today's presentation, we're going to see the Philippine English or Tinglish. The number of speakers are 83 million people that speak English. The location also of the Philippines is in southern Eastern Asia. And the origin of this language is due to the Philippine being American colony between 1898 and 1946. Now, we're going to talk about Couture's three circle models of the world's English's classification. The models describes the diverse forms of English used around the world and categorizes them into different concentrations based on their historical development, use, and their status. They are detailed by the inner, outer, and expanding circle. This also includes the structure and the implications and applications of each one of these Englishes. For example, in the inner circle, we have the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, which means that they are the majority of Englishes and well-spoken Englishes that we can see around the world and that are used more as an example of what we are aiming for. In the outer circle, we have India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Kenya, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Philippines is in one of them due to their colonization by the United States and also by the way that they express themselves with their English. It's not native, but it's also a little bit more clear than the other ones in the expanding circles. As for example, for China, Japan, Russia, South Korea, Brazil, Germany, France, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Mexico. They have a different type of English that is a little bit more mixed with their native languages. Now, we're going to talk about the world system of standard and non-standard Englishes according to Mayer. We have the hypercentral variety of the American English, which means it's the center of all of the other languages that have become a whole due to their English-speaking colonizations or the way that they have been learning as a second language. The standard Englishes are considered to recognize and are taught forms of English with formal rules in official and educational context, which means that they are the more formal Englishes, as we can say. And the non-standard Englishes are the varieties that reflect on regional, social, and situational differences and often lack formal recognition. For example, the dialects that have emerged into the English and that have certain words that look familiar. Now, we have the supercentral variation. What is a supercentral variation? It's the most prestigious and widely accepted forms of English used internationally. That's why there's a standard and then the non-standard, and which we can see that the British English is one of them, the Australian, the Southern African, the Nigerian English, Indian English, and a very small number of others that we can say that are internationally used. Now, we can see that the central varieties are recognized standards with specific countries used in formal and official contexts. For example, Australian English, Canadian English, and different types of English. As for the prepernal varieties, is seen as a standardized English used in countries where English is a second language or a foreign language, but is formalized. There we can see that in a non-standard way, the Philippine English can be categorized in this place. What are social Englishes? In the Philippines, there are many native languages. You may observe them in the graph that we can see right here. Many of these different types of social Englishes um, are transformed into Tinglish. Tinglish is one of the most used Englishes that we can see in the Philippines due to their regional development and also their widespread, which is right here, Tinglish. It comes from Tinglish and Spanglish and Spanish and English, and they become a whole, so it becomes Tinglish. Tinglish is a mixed language involving Tinglong and English. Tinglish occurs widely in both oral and written forms in the media, such as music, sports commentary, commercials, tabloids, as formal talk, classroom, amongst others. This we can see in Gonzalez 2017. Now, we're going to be using the general American model to see the lexical, morphological, syntactical, and phonological differences that we can have in the Filipinian or Tanglish and the general American spoken. Now, we see Filipinian English. We went to the wet market to buy some fresh vegetables. In general American, we would say we went to the farmer's market to buy some fresh vegetables. One word can make a difference. A wet market can say it's wet, there's wet stuff, there's wet different things. As if in American General English, we use a farmer's market, it means that we're going to find fruits, vegetables, and different types of dairy products that can be found in a farm. Now, for the morphological way, the Tanglong influenced words of affirmation. In Filipino English, we can use she bought a new bagger for her new job. But in general American English, we can say she bought a new bag for her job. The use of Tanglish affixes, like ing, mag, and an, are usually used to give it like an emphasis at the end of each word. And in the bottom, we can see examples of this. We could say the ing. I will message you the details. I will send you a message will be correct. But the use of messages is formatted in the English noun with the tangle verb forming the affix ing to mean to send a message. More examples will be included. Now, the syntactical way, the preposition placement, the way that we see questions, and the double negatives. For example, in the PE, which is the Filipino English, we can say, who are you talking to? In general American, we would say, to whom are you talking to? It's more specific and consistent. In the question formation, in Filipino English, they say, can you come with us, ah? And in general form, can you come with us? The use of ugh and ah, and no, the ach and bach at the end of a question is more common using a tag-along question annotation. The double negatives, I don't want to go there no more, would be incorrect for a general American. It would be, I don't want to go there anymore. The double negatives don't and no more are used for emphasis and a pattern of influenced by the tag-along language of their habits of expressing themselves. Now, in the phonological way, we're going to see the word that they use the and the y. For example, in flower instead of flower. And the a and the e. For example, in kit instead of cat. The pronunciation is very different and they differ according to the way that they have been changing their English from their native languages. So this has a lot of emphasis that we can see in the phonological way. Now, implications and connotations of the community. We can see that in the historical way, we can talk about what the Philippines were. In 1565, the Philippines was under the Spanish administration. Therefore, that's why the native languages of the Philippines is the different ones that we saw in the map, the Spanish and also the English that has transformed within the decades and the years and everything that has happened in the social, political, and cultural ways. In the 1902s, the Philippine-American War ended, and the island officially became an unincorporated territory of the United States. With a new colonization administration quickly introduced the English as a primary language, which is going to be used in the government and also in schools. Therefore, there are American teachers. They were called the Thomasites, after the name of the ship that they have arrived in the USS Thomas. Now, we see that the social, political, and cultural are also an implication and connotation in the community. The implications of the Philippine English refer to a direct effect. Society such as influencing educational, professional opportunities, connotations that refer to the emotional, cultural meaning associated with its use, such as the prestige or modern linked to the English proficiency. Both concepts help us understand that the multifacetical role of Filipinian English in the Filipinian life. In the social, we can see that it's an identity, educational and professional opportunity that is being asked to have. So it's more of an implication that many people need to know due to their social connection. Political also, it's a way so that they can do in commercial exchange and different types of communication between different countries. And culture through music, through their televisations, their Netflix, there's different types of things. It's become more of a cultural and expression and their heritage due to the different types of Englishes that we can find there, due to the dialects that have been transformed. Thank you very much. This will be all. Now I will leave you with the references. Thank you, Professor, for listening to me, and I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, or night. Bye bye.